All right. Greetings, everybody, and welcome. My name is Michael Kracker. I'm the Executive Director at Unshackle Upstate, a pro-upstate business and taxpayer advocacy coalition. And I want to welcome you to an Upstate Update from home with State Senator Pam Helming, who's joined us here for a conversation. I want to welcome Senator Helming, who represents the 54th State Senate District, elected in 2006, representing parts or all of 7 counties. Is that right, Senator? 6 counties.
6 counties, that is right. Elected, I began my first term in 2017.
Excellent. You're from Ontario County, from the city or town of Canandaigua, rather, the town, and representing largely Finger Lakes and Central New York District. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yep. From
Excellent.
Webster and Monroe County all the way down to Lansing and Tompkins County.
Beautiful part of upstate New York. You've got an awesome district. Well, before we begin the conversation, talking a little bit about COVID-19 and how you're seeing that be impacted in your community, I want to start by thanking you. Obviously, the state just enacted a state budget just a week or so ago, and included in that budget was something that I know you worked very hard to oppose, and that was a ban on the use and distribution of polystyrene products or styrofoam products. I had the opportunity to visit Pactive Manufacturing in Canandaigua with you just a few weeks before the budget, and I know how much that meant to you and your community and how strongly you worked to oppose it. So I just wanted to say thank you for your advocacy and unfortunate policy outcome in the budget, but no doubt you did what you could on behalf of your constituents.
Thank you, Michael, and I really appreciated going out with you to tour Pactive to talk to their leadership team about the impacts of this polystyrene ban on them. I was the town of Canandaigua supervisor long before I was elected senator, and Pactive has always been instrumental in our community, providing more than 800 jobs to local people. And it's more than that. It's what they do to the community, helping our food banks out, supporting little league teams, etc. So the fact that New York State would incorporate this language into this budget at a time when we're facing one of the most devastating crises of our lifetimes, it's just I don't think it reflects good back on the majority in the New York State Senate or the Assembly.
No, I think we talked about it during our tour. The impact on downstream businesses, restaurants, which are being devastated by this COVID-19 outbreak, are going to come out of that knowing that they're going to be forced into purchasing what is significantly more expensive alternative products in the future. So as they're looking to dig themselves out of this hole from this current crisis, increased costs are something I'm sure they're going to find an unwelcome bit of information when everybody resurfaces here. So again, thank you so much for your advocacy on behalf of the manufacturers and small businesses in the Finger Lakes area on that issue, and we'll continue to work closely with you on that in the future.
Yeah, and Michael, on that issue, just one more comment, if you don't mind.
Please.
And that is, so this ban will take effect within 2 years, but the DEC is now charged with coming up with the rules or regulations surrounding this, coming up with a plan on how this is going to work. I think it's important that we partner with our business community and we work with the DEC to figure out what is the best course of action as we move forward, because you raised a very important point that these polystyrene containers are the most hygienic, the most cost-effective for our schools, our nursing homes, so many small mom and pop businesses that line our main streets. And to expect them to switch over to a more expensive packaging at this time, it's just not realistic. I think, again, this is a real opportunity to do some education, to work with the DEC, and maybe to even get the state to talk about a pilot program for teaching people how to recycle polystyrene takeout food containers. You know, every time I see a beautiful post on social media, whether it's in a school cafeteria or whether it's a local restaurant making a delivery to our first responders or those working at the hospital, it's always of these food packaged in these polystyrene containers, and they have a beautiful message written on it. Thank you for your sacrifices. Thank you for supporting our community. And I just shake my head, wonder how many people out there realize that those containers, if New York State has their way, will go away. But we have some work to do, and we have some opportunities over the next 2 years.
Well, I know you and your office have always been heavily engaged on that. We'll look forward to continuing to work with you on behalf of businesses in the Finger Lakes and throughout upstate New York who might be hurt by this issue. So thank you very much. Switching gears a little bit, I wanted to look to this current crisis, obviously impacting every aspect of our daily lives. Now, I think based off what the governor said, this was day 40 of the pause that he enacted. What does it look like? How are you seeing this play out in your district, in the Finger Lakes, in central New York? What kind of impact are you seeing on the ground where you are?
Yeah, well, what I'm seeing are two things. First, I'd start by saying that the number one calls that we're getting, the email messages we're getting from folks, it's people who are looking for help with. And I'm happy to report that I think just between yesterday and today, that burden has kind of shifted, if you will. People are getting through a lot quicker than they were over the past 3 weeks. My office has fielded more than 250 cases, situations where we've actually helped people connect with unemployment to get the benefits that they're entitled to. So that's probably first and foremost what we're hearing the most about. Second is we've gotten a lot of calls from small businesses. They're really interested in the federal government's programs. And I have to say, hats off to Congressman Reed. Every single week, at least once a week, he is hosting calls with the state officials in his district. And he gives us the latest update on what programs are available. I know for myself, I have a resource list for small businesses that's available on my Facebook page and also on my website, but he has been a tremendous partner. And I think that's going to be key to getting all of us through this, right? Is to partner with our federal officials and our local officials. Small businesses are going to need all the support that they can get. That means doing things like lifting unnecessary regulatory burdens. It means being there to support them however we can. But again, that partnership between all levels of government and working with our business leaders, I think is going to be crucial to all of us coming out of this successfully.
Yeah, I think you touched on an important point. One that I've been fairly pleased with to see here in New York State is the unprecedented level of bipartisan cooperation between the federal, state, and local governments. Obviously, upstate New York, a lot of Republican representation at the state and local level, but statewide and federally, a lot of our representation is in the Democrat Party. But I've noticed a very good bipartisan working relationship, whether it's the president and the governor, who, depending on the day, could be getting along or could not be. But Congressman Tom Reed, who I've always known to be a great advocate for upstate New York, Senator Chuck Schumer, all sort of working together on this current crisis to make sure New Yorkers, New York small businesses, and others are getting the information and the resources they need. And as ranker on small business and the ranking member on the Rural Resources Commission, I know you are working day and night to help out your small businesses and your farms. The farms, the ag industry in New York State, I know, and I'm sure you've talked to several of them who have been hurt by this crisis. What are you hearing from your farmers today, and what kind of things can we do to support them?
Yeah, so you're right. I serve as the ranker on the Economic Development, Small Business, and Commerce Committee, as well as the Legislative Commission on Rural Resources. But I'm bringing this up because I also serve on the Ag Committee, and I'm the ranker on the Tourism Committee. So this pause New York has had a tremendous impact on the small businesses, including farmers and tourism. And farming and tourism are the number 1 and 2 economic drivers for our Finger Lakes region. So I've had so much outreach. I've heard from a number of farmers. Originally, the focus was with the dairy farmers and what can we do. We've all seen those heartbreaking, heart-wrenching photos of farmers dumping millions of gallons of milk. Imagine what that's like. If you're in the manufacturing business, imagine what it was like. You produce the highest quality product, not only in the state, but maybe in the world. And here you're asked to just trash it, just dump it. It has more than an economic impact, I guess is my point. So we've been working really hard to pair up farmers with outlets for whatever it is that they have. And I would like to share just, I think it's one quick success story. I spoke with a small farmer. He reached out to me from Marion, Wayne County. He raises Easter lambs, he and his wife. It's just the two of them. They don't have any employees. So he was reaching out to me to ask if there were any programs available for him. He didn't qualify the payroll protection plan, the federal program, because of no employees. But the bottom line was he fell through the cracks. He didn't qualify for any of the federal programs, and there really weren't any state programs available. So I thought, what the heck? He had 45 Easter lambs that he needed to sell. He usually markets at Chelsea Market in New York City, but since that market's closed, he had no other outlet. So this is just, I think, symbolic of the great community spirit, the willingness of our community to come together and to help each other out, in the support for our agricultural industry. So I put something out too. I texted a number of people that I know. A couple of people did social media posts, and I talked to the farmer yesterday, and Michael, it's just amazing. He has sold every single one of his lambs. I mean, the generosity of the community and other small businesses coming out to help each other, it's just incredible. So
that's fantastic.
Just before I got on this call with you, I called Commissioner Ball, Richard Ball from Ag and Markets, and talked about some of the concerns that I have for our farmers. And I have to say that I think State Ag and Markets is doing a wonderful job, again, of matching up. For instance, they were able to work with FoodLink and farmers and provide an opportunity for farmers to not only make donations to not-for-profits, but to get paid from them. So that'll be very helpful. There's just a lot of good things that are going on. And again, information about agriculture programs that are available to our farmers, I'll have on my website. I think go ahead.
No, I was going to say I think that's an excellent example of being creative. I think one thing that I've been impressed with in both the private sector and in the public space is some of the creativity for how to survive this crisis. Who knew that the senator could double as a food service provider in her spare time? But that's an excellent story. I mean, there's got to be a community coming together to support individual businesses, whether it's stepping up and ordering takeout on a Friday night with your family, or to the other end of the spectrum, helping a friend and a neighbor sell their Easter lambs. So that's truly that's a feel-good story, but one I think that people need to hear.
Yeah, and we have so many of those feel-good stories. I mean, I think about Bonadent, which is located in Seneca County, converting over to manufacture masks and the protective devices for people. They donated $50,000 to Geneva General Hospital. That's amazing. V Textiles, a small company located in Wayne County, switching gears to be able to manufacture masks with a silver lining in them. I mean, there are just so many of those wonderful stories out there. All of the home sewers who are producing masks for nursing homes and others who need them.
Yeah, I think there's just countless stories of upstate New York businesses stepping up to the plate to help their friends and neighbors, the first responders, the healthcare professionals, first line essential business workers, just really some great stories. And I'm glad to hear that you're highlighting those efforts on your social media to make sure that everybody's getting the credit that they deserve in this time. So thank you for that. Just maybe on a personal level, obviously everybody's been stuck at home. Outside of, I'm sure, what is endless phone calls from constituents and businesses and things that you can do to be helpful, I know you are. But what about on a personal level? What are you and the family doing to stay busy and stay sane during this work from home New York pause, if you will?
So I don't know if you can hear that construction noise going on behind me, but Gary, my husband, is finally having an opportunity to maybe catch up on some of the things around our home that have been lagging for the past 30-some years. But no, we've really made an effort, especially on Saturday mornings, to get out. And it's been great. Again, being the ranker on the tourism committee, we've gone out exploring. We've packed up our bicycles. We've biked the Erie Canal. We've done some biking along Emerson Park, Oswego Lake. I've been all over the 54th district just checking things out. Recently, just out to Sodas Point and along Lake Ontario. The coronavirus doesn't stop everyday life from going on. One of the things I'm concerned about, and I have a conference call as soon as we finish up here with local elected officials from along the southern shores of Lake Ontario to talk about the spring flooding that is sure to happen around Lake Ontario. I want to make sure that they have the resources they need, sandbags, etc. So Gary and I, we've been out doing some additional exploration of the 54th district, getting a little exercise, and I think you really have to balance. This pandemic is, when you think about the number of lives lost, it's overwhelming, it's staggering, it's heartbreaking, and you really need to get out and balance that. I think exercise.
Oh, we got you on mute here, Senator. Let me unmute you. Unmute audio. There you go. You should be back.
Michael?
Yep, you're back.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. So I guess in closing, any message you want to deliver to, the Finger Lakes community, the upstate New York community? These are difficult times, but we're fortunate to have great leaders like yourself serving the communities of upstate New York. So any message you want to deliver to our listeners, to upstate, to the Finger Lakes today?
Absolutely. To everyone out there, I want to say thank you. Thank you for stepping up, supporting each other. Stay strong. We're going to get through this together. And if you need any help at all, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Give me a call. Check out the resources again that I have on my website and on my Facebook page. But know that I'm here to support you however I can.
Well, Senator, I want to thank you so much. I know you've got a busy schedule, and I greatly appreciate you taking the time to speak with Unshackle Upstate. We're going to be sharing this with our Facebook following, and certainly you can as well. But I just want to thank you not only for taking the time today, but for all that you do for New York's businesses and taxpayers. You've been a great advocate in Albany. I'm fortunate to work with you in your office and call you a friend. And I just thank you again for everything you're doing to serve upstate New York and the Finger Lakes.
Thank you so much, Michael.
Take care and be safe.